campervan's going to look complete after this video.
Towards the end of the week, we're going down to pick up the over storage just there, the single bed for down there,
our marble effect worktop, along with the induction hob, and the sink will get installed.
That's going to be a trip down to Birmingham to VANZ Adventures. But we're starting the video with completing the shower cubicle.
This is going to take a few days for it to cure because we need a lot of silicone and a lot of sealant inside here.
It's just going to be a bog standard simple washroom,
complete with a DIY shower tray. It's going to be a wet room basically, so like you get in hospitals.
Currently we've got the RC fabrics on the ceiling and we've got a board there to go over it, so we've had to mark exactly where the actual fans go in. This is the actual tube for the fan. It goes on and comes straight through the ceiling, so we've used that and a load of measurements to get it absolutely perfect.
I've measured twice and I'm about to cut once. Let's see if it's right.
Starts with a big hole in one side to be able to fit the jigsaw blade in to cut it all around. Then take it into the area and trial and fit it, see if it actually works. Needed a little bit of trimming, so take the board back out, get it lined up, mark out where we need to trim that off, get it back up, and boom. Take it back out, lay it down on the PVC that's going on top of it, use it as a template and mark out where we need to cut on the template.
Those panels all dry fit really nice, and now it's time to fasten them up. The wood board goes up and gets screwed straight into the wood ceiling. With all that wood in place, it's time to start putting the PVC onto it. There's a little trick that Lee at VANZ Adventures told me. You know the window primer that you put on your van before you install a window? He said get some of that because silicone after a few years likes to come away from the shower walls. This will stop that from happening. One little tiny thing to do now will prevent me problems in a few years to come. So I've got the window primer to put both on the back wall where the silicone's going to be, on the ceiling where the silicone's going to be, and on the PVC that's going to be on both panels. The fumes, it's strong stuff. I've got the back panel and the ceiling panel primed up, ready to go. It's just a case now we've got CT1, that's a universal sealant and construction adhesive. That's what's going to stick all the stuff to the back wall and to the ceiling. I'm looking at it now thinking I've only got one tub of that. I don't think that's going to be enough. So I'll probably just do the back panel first and see how much I've got left. Then we've got some Dowsel T85, no, 785. That's a bathroom bacteria free sealant thing to seal all the edges. I was right, a full tube went on the entire back panel, but it's all good, it'll work and it'll be solid as a rock. I'll just have to get another tube to be able to do the ceiling panel. Got the angle pieces all around the bottom just to help with a bit of water tightness. We've even put one at the top there just to help it out up there. We have to let the glue cure before we can start sealing up all of the seams. Got the dubbed out community camp out at the end of the week, so I'm hoping to have it virtually done for that. Now on Friday or Saturday, not too sure yet, whichever, it depends how far Lee gets on, but we'll be picking up and getting all this installed as well. So it should, in theory, look like a complete camper van for that little camp out. This is just a plastic protective film that's over the top of the PVC. So if we can peel all that off, then we can guarantee to get a really nice smooth edge all the way down there when we seal it. I'm proper stoked and everything now. It's like proper starting to look like a real camper van. My vision is starting to come to life a bit. We've got our first little problem. This is the sealant that we're going to be using to seal all the gaps all the way around the shower. However, we've got a problem with it. Only a slight problem, a problem that I didn't notice straight away. And you can't really tell because there's nothing on there that says it. But in the print up here, clear, transparent. That's not going to work, my friend. The thing that I've come up with, I'm going to use it all the way around the floor because there is another floor going on top of there. But I need to seal that floor in first, then put the other floor on top. That'll make more sense once I start drilling a hole in the floor for the actual plug hole. Trust me.
Just a simple case of run a thin bead, get the edges cleaned up, leave it to cure while we carry on with another problem that we've got with the swivel seats.
Now while I tell you about this, keep in mind I've had this installed for 6 months. The first thing I have to do is get rid of all of these screw twist nuts. Lift up the seats and then you will see there's a couple of bolts. See these bolts here? 1, 2. There's a couple down there, one up there, one, oh that's going to be a tricky one to get to, and another one down there. I've basically got to flip them over. You see, when I lift the seat up to swivel it, it won't sit back down flat because I've got nuts on the bottom and the flat heads on the top. Something that I've very recently figured out. I just thought it was a bit of a poor design. Turns out it was just me. The whole seat needs to be lifted up so that it can clear this fuse box here. It's done with this handle here. Poof. picks it up, and then you can swivel the seat however you please. You can see the flat bolts there and the big nuts underneath there. That's the kind of damage that they're currently doing. Nothing a 17mm spanner and a 6mm Allen wrench won't fix. What makes this job so easy, well, apart from doing it right the first time, I can just swivel the seats round to actually get to the other bolts on the other side. Before I started doing this work, when it was lowered, I could fit a full finger underneath there because the bolts were the wrong way. Let's lower the handle down once we've got it nice and square and see how it sits perfectly. Look at that. Yes, I can't even get my finger under there now. Shopping list for tomorrow at B&Q. White silicone and a lot of it that's bathroom sanitary standard. I've got to pick up, I don't know, 2 or 3 tubs of that. Next one, I want to get a valve for the water tank in the back. You see, there's my new water tank. It's a 90 litre, but I need something to connect the inlet water pipe to the tank. So like a valve sort of thing to go in there. I don't know, we'll see what B&Q have available, I guess. I've got to try and get that mattress out of there because that's getting chopped up into 2 pieces, 1 for the single bed and 2 for a double bed extension. Bed extension is going to be going here between the mattress and the back door. There's some funny angles to try and go around, but that's just until we can sort of figure out a unit or something to go there.
This is where we thought just a simple run to B&Q is going to do the job, but it didn't. They didn't have anything. City Plumbing didn't have anything. We went to a pond place. They didn't have anything.
4 places this morning and 3 hours of driving around trying to find something, and I think we've come up with a plan. This is the sort of thing that I initially wanted to start with. So it basically, the plastic tank will go in there, a couple of washers, screw it down. We couldn't find one. We found loads of bits without the nut, just not without that, and it had to be the right size. That is 1 3/4 inches too big, so we've ended up with this, which again is a similar sort of problem, where we found that in a spares drawer part, but we've got the 2 little washers inside there. That should work perfectly fine, but that's 1 1/4 inches. So then we've got this little rubber adapter, which will go on perfectly fine just like that, clamp down nicely. But then this side's 1 1/4 inches, so I'm thinking the hose that I've already got coming in from the outside filler can go over, and then we can clamp it down. In theory, that should work, and that might give me the extra length that I need. I think that rubber clamp was like £4. That piece, she gave it to me for like 60p. But Pond Factory, or a pond supply place, that's where we ended up getting it from. I've done all of that, lost 3 hours of time, and I could have just ordered exactly what I needed to start with from the internet for like £3. Good though, because I've got all my white silicone to go around all the edges inside the shower, top, bottom, round, absolutely everywhere. Wire in the light for the fan, get that up there, screwed in and sealed up nicely, and in theory it should be good. I have found a little problem that I've done with the shower, because let's face it, I always find problems. Now in my mind, when I first started this whole build off, I wanted to put the shower trap, you know, the hole through the floor, I wanted to put it over that back corner just there, and that's because when I'm laying there in bed, I like to have a little bit of a slope up like that. So I thought, you know what, it'll come down, it'll flow out the hole perfectly fine. I've just been under the van to have a look at where it could come out and stuff, and it would come out directly where the suspension actually attaches to the van. So that's a big no-no. I'm going to have to go under and basically drill through the one spot that I've got under there that I can actually drill through. And I think it's going to come in around about the middle there. So that's going to be a fun one to try and work around.
We can't really do that until all the sealant and the silicone is actually cured properly.
Now we're going to get the old mattress off my old bed, which we kept in storage. We've got to cut the single bed mattress that's going across there and a piece for the back. Top tip, bread knife. If you have an automatic bread knife, that's even better. And just like that, we have a wider bed. It's all going far too smoothly. Smoothly enough where there's going to be a problem. And it's going to be a big one because it's ran too smooth. Time for some wiring. Simple wiring though. All I've got to do is get those 2 cables from the Max Dome light and basically cut this cable to size, strip it, connect them together, and then screw it straight up. What could possibly go wrong? As always with any Max product, we need to look at the labels because the black wire on these is actually positive. That's the same for the Max Fan Deluxe and anything else that Max Fan decide to release. I don't think that looks too bad actually, and it works. Check it out, check it out. So now the only thing that I need to do in the shower room is let everything cure, probably go over it and seal it and probably seal it again and do the hole in the floor with the wet room style floor that we're going to be doing. Now we've got the trouble of trying to sort out the hole that's going to come through there for the drain. This is going to be quite a tricky thing because there's no reference points on the inside to get a good tape measure, and there isn't any on the outside. The measurements that I can do inside won't correlate to outside because I've already got all the boarding up on this one. One thing I can say is the wheel arch is just the other side of this, so I can take a tape from there and to the edge of here is 29 inches. So I can sort of go on the outside underneath and go sort of from the wheel arch 29 inches. I can't go further than that. The problem is when you go underneath the van, let me just quickly get down, you've got all the suspension components just there, so the only place it can really go is up there or up there. Now 29 inches brings us to right in the middle of this section here, so all I can do is drop a hole straight through there in the middle, nice and secure, and see where it pops out underneath. I guess it's just a case of hoping. What I ended up doing was just basically a good guesstimation. Got a load of measurements and I couldn't get it exact, but I knew whereabouts inside it would be. Now I couldn't just go straight from underneath and straight up because it would have went straight through a wall, or it could have gone too far back, too far forward. So I went inside whereabouts I thought I could do. I couldn't go to the front of the shower unit because the exhaust is just there. I couldn't go towards the wheel arch because all the suspension, that's all in place. So I found the right location inside, drilled a hole through. Tiny little hole, it's just popped through there. So what I'm going to do, this is a flat ridge, I'm going to move a hole straight through here and go straight through, and then I can use that as a pilot hole and I can get a full flat surface seal on that area just there. And just like that, we've got a hole in the van. Now apparently this is how wet rooms in hospitals are made. You have that corner there where there's the hole for the sink trap. That's 3mm ply, and then we slowly step up the ply to about 6mm up in this corner. Over here, the main board that goes on top is going to be cut out like that, so that is the lower section. And then cover it all again in this outro flooring, highly waterproof, highly durable. And in theory, that should be good enough. Did you understand that? It basically makes a gentle slope going into that trap, and in theory that should work, but we'll see. If it's good enough for hospitals, it's good enough for me. Got loads of bonding agent all in the middle, and then we've sealed it with silicone all the way around. Put that on, push it down, hopefully the silicone will squeeze up out the edges. We can just clear that up just to be extra safe that it's going to be watertight. Basically a little bit like that, where it's shorter and lower at one side but higher at the other side, so it all runs down nicely. That's the 18mm ply that's going on top of it with the corner cut out to accommodate where that's going to go. So all the water is going to run down into there and then just sink straight into the actual trap. Now the floor's down, I'm going to totally leave it to cure 24 hours overnight, then get on it, step on it. If there's any play whatsoever, I've got the template cut out, I can put another piece directly on top, let it cure. I've got to drill the hole through that tomorrow, but I've got one big important job to do first. Anti-rust prevention on the metalwork for that big hole that I cut underneath. That'll do, donkey. That reminds me, actually, I'm booked to go on to one of these campervan shows, campervan festivals, a little camp out, and there's a fancy dress one, medieval. Somebody says to me, you should go dressed as Shrek in a medieval outfit. This is the flooring that we're going to be using inside the shower. It's a really thick, it's called outro flooring. It's the flooring that we used in the van throughout, but it's also heavily durable. And again, the same stuff that hospitals use in all their corridors. So this can really take a battering. Now what I have to do is again get the same hole saw bit, but I can't go through the top through that piece of wood because I don't know exactly where the hole is. I'm going to have to do it from outside. But as you can tell, it's still chucking it down. It's only got to go through 3mm ply, so it won't take too long. So I guess I'm just going to have to grim and bear it. I'm just going to have to go out there, get on the floor, get wet, get it done. Didn't take too long at all, but we've got the flooring just there. Like I say, it's the same as the flooring we've already got. We've got the high temperature spray glue. We're using the high temp stuff because we've got an ingenious idea of the diesel heater, or one of the diesel heater vents going in there. So on a wet day, we can hang some wet clothes up, leave the diesel heater on, and it'll dry those clothes with the vents open and the fan sucking all the condensation out. Before I lay it down though, I'm just going to go around once again with the silicone, just making sure everything is sealed perfectly. Glue the floor down, make sure it hits that groove just there, cut out the hole with a Stanley knife down there, and then I can sit the sink plug straight down into that hole and then bolt it up from underneath. We're about ready for the sink plug hole. I need to seal all around the edge. That's still got to do, but I figured I'd do that at the same time as sealing around the plug hole. I just wanted to show you what plug I actually went for. Mr. B&Q, that's the name of it. That's what it is. Now obviously it doesn't look like that on the top. There's just a little plastic cover on the top, just like that. So it's a nice chrome one. Ideally I wanted black, but it's not the end of the world. My theory being with this is I wanted a plug that I can constantly keep closed to stop anything crawling up. That keeps it closed, that keeps it open. It goes through the van and sits like that, sealed up with that seal just there. This seal and this nut go underneath the van to tighten it all down, and that is what it looks like when it's done. Obviously I've still left the plastic cap on that because there's still silicone drying absolutely everywhere. I've got to go around, I've got to touch up a few bits, and I'm probably going to do another couple of more coats of silicone on all the beads throughout the whole camper van. You can never ever be too sure when it comes to something like that. I'm just going to have to run through now and clear up all the mess from absolutely everywhere, because it's not long now until we go down to Birmingham to pick up the rest of the furniture that's going to go into this camper van. So today's all about cleanup duty. Check out where I parked last night. Just a lovely little sort of farmy sort of area. It's quite a nice little spot, but we've got to clean up because we've got a couple of big days now. So toilet, that's going away. Me water, everything basically down there is going away. I'll find some place for it. I've got me drone down there. That's got to go in my camera bag. I've got to put all my stuff's got to go somewhere away. I've got the new worktop going in, the induction hob's going in, and just there I've even got my sink, because that might even be getting put in as well. Don't know how I'm going to rearrange all that. I'm going to have to take my fridge out as well, or at least unwire it, because the kitchen's getting moved tomorrow about 15 mil this way, and the whole worktop's going on. It's going to need access under there, so I'm going to have to unwire that, but got to be quite strategic with the way I do things here, because I'm going down to VANZ Adventures tomorrow to get all this work done in Birmingham. But then when I leave there, I'm coming straight to the northwest for a dubbed out community camp out. So I'm going to need to have everything in here. I'm going to need the place empty, but then on the other side I'm going to need it full of everything I need for the weekend. How am I going to do that? Either way, I guess this is the last time you're going to see the van looking like this. Oh no, this is a big mistake. I've found a Transporter HQ catalogue. Now I was torn between, I can do two things with this. One, I could launch it straight away so I don't have the temptation to buy anything. Or I can flick through it and increase the temp. No, it's got to go. Nope. I can't have it. I'll end up spending money. No.
With an 8 AM appointment down at VANZ Adventures, I wanted to start extra early. My plan was to beat the rush hour around Birmingham. We need to get some fuel on the way though.
Got here a little bit early, so I decided, you know what, I'm going to do some cleaning in the back, because let's face it, this van is going to be on a lot of eyes over the next few days, just with the camp out and stuff like that. So I wanted to get it cleaned, you know, like proper on my hands and knees, scrub the floor. Lee's just got here at VANZ Adventures half an hour before my time slot, and let's go and get this sorted. There's my overcab storage locker over there. There's my worktop. Look at that.
First thing to go in, just to make sure measurements were correct, was the bed box. That goes down, it has to dodge all of the diesel heater, it has to dodge all of the cables. We have to router a few little holes, get it secured in nicely. We had to measure the actual gap once the shower was fitted, and the over cab storage locker to be able to get the correct measurement for that to be built. They had to take the old worktop off, the one that they just lent me, so that we could trial fit the new worktop. Look at this bed box, absolutely perfect. Fits around the diesel heater perfectly. Granted, I still need to do some ducting in there. The next one was the overcab locker. Well, the over storage locker. Again, we had to get the correct measurement for this before it could go up. And you know what? It fit absolutely perfect. Millimeter perfect. It's really starting to come together now. The kitchen needs to be moved over around about 15 millimeters.
So what they have to do is, I wanted a little bit of an extra gap on this side and this side, just so that when the fridge opens, it doesn't interfere with it. Same with this unit, it doesn't. So now they're working on a plinth to go across here before the worktop goes on.
The kitchen pod needed to be slightly adjusted, so it was my time to just have a quick look and back out. I have a slightly deeper sink than normal, so we needed to just adjust the bottom of the kitchen unit just to accommodate the depth of the actual sink. I took this time to go and have a look around their unit just to sort of see what everybody else was having. These are all units for other customers with MAN TGEs, VW Crafters, Sprinters, in all of the different weird and wonderful colours that everyone decides to pick. There is some really nice ones here. There's another person here that's got the same worktop that I'm having. Granted, I'm the first person in the UK to have this worktop, so that'll be the second. Here's a kitchen pod they're doing for somebody else in a slightly different colour with the soft closed drawers. So this unit has the fridge going in from the side, so you'll see it when you walk through the side door. But back over to my build, they're starting to scribe out the worktop to make it fit that extra little bit nicer. That's the thing with the VWs, there's just so many curves and kinks throughout the whole van. They just have to try and work them out, drop them a follow. Just look at how nice this worktop is. They're now starting to work on a small splashback for the back of the unit.
How cool does this look? It's amazing how much light that actually bounces around the campervan. And the attention to detail with the scribing around all these pillars and stuff is absolutely amazing. And look at how much storage I've got underneath that single bed. So the heater vent's going to go through there. One's going to come out just down here. The other one's going to go straight into the shower. And I'm the first person to have this marble effect worktop.
With the splashback all sorted, edge banded nicely, it's time to get that installed. Down to the last few finishing touches now. The induction hob and the control panel for the induction hob are now getting installed. That's a simple cut the hole out the right size. It's already been edged, it's already down, get it in. We just need to seal that once we do get back home. Then they did something that I didn't even know they were doing. A side extension for the worktop in the same material as the actual worktop itself. Loads of attention to detail to get it exactly level and looking exactly perfect. Just look at how nice that looks, and it's perfectly functional. Look at that. It just extends the worktop nicely. Now it's to go around, make sure everything's secured in nicely before we can start heading back up north.
I am so over the moon with I just can't I keep looking back at it. It's absolutely amazing. I cannot wait to show you guys. I'm on my way up to dubbed out camp out, so when I get up there I'll give you a good look at everything, because I am stoked. I'm driving down a farm track now and nothing's even rattling or anything. It's absolutely amazing. Right, I'll see you in a second.
We're now set up down at the dubbed out camp out, so let me quickly show you around this camper van because I'm blown away. You can see we're set up perfectly fine. We've got the swivel seats in their swivel position, the foam mattress on the actual single bed, the kitchen pod all lined up absolutely perfect, fridge easily accessible with the extra extensions that we added in, the induction hobs there. We've not wired it in yet and we've not sealed it in yet. We rushed to get up here. All the over counter lights are all on. It's amazing how bright they are and how much light they bounce around, having all these lighter surfaces inside the camper van. Even when you first walk into the camper van and you've got these big over storage locker directly in front of you, it just bounces it around. It's so much storage. Some might think too much storage. I think too much storage, but I can guarantee you it's going to get filled very quickly. We still need to add the tap to the sink, but the splashback at the back meets in the same height as the bedboard. We've got all the storage, all the accessibility that we need to continue doing this conversion. We're really coming towards the end of this conversion now. If you're new around here, please subscribe.